Okay, it's another Tuesday night. We're going to do something a little different since everything's pretty much kind of canceled. Um, we decided maybe we won't do the rants every Tuesday night um, because most of the time things that are um, being talked about and being discussed are already being picked up throughout the week anyway. So um, we decided we're going to go with a little different route here. Also, this is something that's going to be able to for Jim also to make videos that'll be a little bit more with well, once we talk about it, you'll see where we're going with this. This will be able to, we've had a lot of playthroughs on a lot of our videos on YouTube, and I'd like to just kind of go over some of the video games that we've been doing, and retro games, and also streams that we've already done. I'd like to go over those and kind of give you my thoughts about, different games individually, a game individually. These will not be every Tuesday night. They'll be kind of spread out. It'll be, I can't even guarantee you there'll be one a week. It may be more than one a week. It may only be one every couple weeks. It just depends upon how it goes. Like I said, a lot of them already we have videos for, so we'll talk about those to begin with, and as we go on up, I'll play some more retro games, and we'll have footage of those retro games, and what we'll do is on those we'll have kind of a playthrough, and then we'll kind of have maybe like some tips and tricks that I found out over the years, or even online, that you can find, because everything you can find all kinds of tips and tricks online. There's stuff that I didn't know a long time ago, and the game may be a full playthrough of it may be a full playthrough of the game. It may not be a full playthrough of the game. Some of the games, either you can't finish, or I can't finish and haven't been able to finish even whenever I was a kid, and even now I still can't finish them. So on those certain specific ones, we'll go through as much as we can, or we'll try to figure out some way to finish those, and hopefully, even if it's more than a one-part video, we'll try to figure out some different ways to finish it. But I thought that this would be a better idea than trying to tell you what went on throughout the week. It's just a lot of information to try to digest, and it's really difficult to keep up with. And this is something that I know more about, Jim knows more about. We've got a little bit more experience with things, and older games. And like I said, it'll be older games. Some of them will be games they'll be on the Xbox, but we're going to try to start with the Nintendo. But like I said, there's already some videos that are up that we done probably about a year ago or so, maybe a couple of years ago, and we're just going to try to give you some tips, tricks, and what we, what is liked about the game and what is not liked about the games. So what we're going to do is, for today, I'm going to talk about the first video I done, which was Mega Man 1. It's about 40-some minute video. It was a playthrough of Mega Man 1. Mega Man 1 is not the game that me or some other people started off with in the Mega Man franchise. We actually started off with number 2. Actually, if you look at the box art for the first one, it's really, really hideous and confusing, and a lot of people have a lot of flack with that box art. It has what's supposed to be Mega Man on the front of it, and he's blue and yellow, which he's just blue and blue. But for some reason on there, he's blue and yellow, and it looks really bad. And it looks like he's got a gun in his hand. He doesn't have a gun. He has an arm cannon. Even on the first one, he's got an arm cannon. So I don't know why they made, and it's horrible box art. Now, granted, the instruction booklet that came with the game, it gives you a little bit of detail, but basically you just have to play around with this game. It's an older game, and I like Mega Man. This is one of the ones I don't particularly like. It's not one of my favorites. I have played through it a few times. It's a shorter playthrough mostly than most of the other ones, but it's still, you'll see as I tell you what goes on that it gets a little bit rough toward the end, and even if you watch the video, it's very hard. I have to end up using save states to technically sit through and get through the game, which sometimes I have to use save states on it, sometimes I don't. It just depends upon how my luck goes on that run. Of course, you have the 6 Robot Masters. You have Bomb Man, Fireman, Iceman, Elecman, Cutman, and Gutsman. And we'll go through the order I go through. Now, the order I go through may not be the order that everybody goes through, but it's the order that I find out is the easiest for me. It's the easiest for me. It may not be the easiest for you, but it's the easiest for me. Mostly I can defeat 5 of the Robot Masters with the arm cannon. So you could very well do this any other way. I'm just going to give you kind of the weaknesses of each one, so that if you run up on them, no matter which way you decide to go, this would be an easier. It wouldn't be an easier, but it'll give you a sense of what do I use against which enemy, and that's what we're going to try to do for you. We're going to try and make you a little plot so that you don't really have too much to go through, and we'll talk about the stages as I'm going on. I like to take on Bomb Man first. It used to be Cut Man, but I take on Bomb Man first. Bomb Man stage is it's kind of lengthy, but it's not a difficult stage. It can be if you make it that way, but it's not really that difficult. He himself is not difficult. He chucks bombs, and then he jumps across the room. He chucks some more bombs. So basically, as long as you're just running over underneath him and turning around and shooting him, you're fine. You get the bomb ability, and you get to throw bombs. The second stage would be Gutsman. Now, at the very beginning of the stage, and this is one of the things that Jim absolutely hates. I don't like it either. There's a section with three conveyor belts with a pulley on them, and they have like a little platform. The first one just goes straight through. The second one has like 2 drop-offs that you have to figure out how to time your jump. The best thing to do is to try to listen to it as it's going along and just try to get those jumps down. The bottom one has about 5 or 6 jumps that you have to hit consecutively. That's where the noise comes in. And I always find it easy just to kind of practice with the noise that you hear. That way, some people can do it with noise, some people can do it with just regular. So, but that's the hard part of the level. The level's not really that long. I guess it's because they have the conveyors there that it's not that long. You get to Gutsman, you're in a chamber with him. Best thing to do is just to try to stand and try to figure out where you're going to throw your bombs, because they do take a second or two to get off. The only bad thing is if he gets right in your face, there ain't much you can do except you're going to take a hit, because he's going to be right there and he's going to smash the block on your head. But I think it's only 2 or 3 bombs takes him out. And then you get Gutsman power. Gutsman power, you'll be confused the first couple times you use it because you're really not sure what it does. This is one of the only Mega Man games also, before I get too far into it, that doesn't tell you exactly the power that you get, so you have to kind of figure out what the powers do, because they don't really tell you got whatever power. They don't show you what it does or anything. This is also the only Mega Man game in the Adventure series, excluding sports and other games that were made into Mega Mans. This is one of the only ones that keeps a score. And I'm not real sure why the score was left in there. I guess they had an idea of something to do with it, but maybe they just scrapped it at the last minute. I'm not real sure why there's a score thing on there, because I really don't, after a while, I really don't even pay attention to it. But anyway, you get clear points for defeating each boss. Again, like I said, I don't even normally notice it. The next one I would take on would be Cutman. Cutman stage is moderate length, not very difficult. There's maybe one or two spots that'll get you a little bit, but it's not that difficult. Cutman himself is not very hard, especially if you use Gutsman power. If you use Gutsman's power, you just pick it up. You pick up the block. There's 2 blocks in the room. You pick up the first block, you crack him over the head with it. You pick up the second block, you crack him with it. He's dead. His thing is he shoots out a, it's called a rolling cutter. He shoots it out. It twirls around towards you and then comes back. It's like a boomerang. And it's kind of easy to get around, and he'll kind of move towards you and move around while he's shooting that cutter. So he's not very hard to dodge. So that kills him. That gives you the rolling cutter. Now, you go to Elecman stage next. There's a couple of different things here that I want to go over. In Elecman stage, this stage is hard. It's tough. There's some trap things at the beginning that you have to shoot while you're trying to jump up platforms. There's other parts where you're climbing up a ladder. These things are coming down. The best thing to do is just try to figure out the pattern on all these things. There's also beams that shoot across. In one part of the level, you'll want to go up. You'll probably see it. It's not, I don't think it's necessary to complete the game. It may be necessary. I always pick it up anyway. There's a blue, it looks like a little blue gun that you have to use Guts power to break the blocks, to throw the blocks to the side so that you can get in there. You want to pick that up. That's very important for one of the Wily stages later. So that's very important. So you want to pick that up. As you go on up, that'll be listed as M in your inventory. But you want to keep on going up and go through the stage and do as good as you can through the stage. Now once you get down to Elecman, this is easily one of the most frustrating bosses in the game. This guy is sporadic. He jumps around everywhere, and he shoots lightning that goes in 3 different directions. It goes straight, it goes up, and it goes down. You need to hit him with the rolling cutter. And basically what you need to do is you need to throw it out so that it hits him once on the way and it hits him once coming back. You just have to hope for the best and hit him when you can, and just try not to let him get too close to you. That's about the only good information I can give you. Now, you'll get the Elect Beam when you get him. Then you'll go to Iceman stage. Also, Elecman stage has a short little area with the disappearing blocks that become a staple in the Mega Man games as the series goes on. I don't care for them. Jim don't like them either. So it's you know, but there's quite a few different points in Iceman stage where there are blocks that appear. The stage is not very long itself, not very hard except for the block area, and then there's an area where you need to ride on these platforms and they shoot, and when you get halfway across, there's 4 of them in the first section. When you get halfway across, there's another 4. The other 4, they do the same thing that the first 4 do, but you have to shoot these penguins that explode whenever they come across the screen. They're like bullets that come across. And you have to shoot them and they explode. So you have to kind of be shooting as you're jumping. I have found out the easiest way to do this is that M thing that I told you to get back on Elecman stage. Use this across toward the top of the screen just a little bit, and then just a little bit more, a little bit more as you're going up the screen. That way, as you're going across these beams, and it's a little touchy, it takes a little bit getting used to with this beam, but as you're going across the stage, you won't have to worry about jumping on any of the platforms, and you should be able to make it all the way across. With a few tries, You luckily make it right across. The only thing is, when you go into face Iceman, he's going to jump, he's going to throw 3 little ice things, then he's going to run over to that side of the room, he's going to do the same thing. The best thing to do, and I'm going to tell you this trick to use the trick, use it on every boss if you can. Use it on every boss. And it doesn't work with just the elect beam, as you'll see later on in the video. It doesn't work with just on the elect beam. It works with every weapon in the game. But what you're going to do is you shoot it, and about the time it connects, you start pausing and unpausing the game as fast as you can. And you'll get into a rhythm of it, and what will happen is, like on Iceman, you only have to hit him with 3 elect beams and he's dead. If you can catch it just right, it will hit him once, and then you'll be pausing it and be unpausing it. It'll drag across, it'll hit him twice, and then it'll hit him a 3rd time. You can kill him in 1 attack if you learn how to do this, if you learn how to do the pause and unpause trick. If you ever have any trouble with any of these tips or tricks I'm telling you, let me know, and I'll try to get back to you, try to do maybe a video showing what I do, what the controller's doing, what I'm doing on a controller, so that you can understand a little bit better of what I'm doing that would be on the screen. Because I see walkthroughs half of the time, and people try to show me things to do. If you don't show me what you're doing on the controller, I have no idea what to do on the other one. I'm swinging for the fence and hoping for the best. So I've had that problem happen before in the past, and it's infuriating, and I understand it's infuriating. So that's why I'm giving you guys an idea of what to do on that. You get the ice ray. Oh, I think it's called an ice ray. It's called something like that. Ice slasher maybe. You go to Fireman last, and Fireman's stage is not hard, but you really have to be, your reflexes have to be pretty good, and you have to really be kind of just not really standing in one spot for very long, and you can make it through the stage. When you make it to him, he's going to shoot out these fire things as they come through. They'll likely set you on fire. Best thing I can tell you to do is just get that ice slasher out and just hammer away at him. You can use the pause one. You don't really need to, but you can use it. And the best thing to do is to keep turned the way he is, which is usually when you come in, it's on this side of the screen. And you need to keep your controller pad pushed that way, because if you don't push the controller pad that way, whenever he hits you, it's going to knock you. You're going to be looking at the wall, which is not good. So he's not too bad to defeat. You could actually jump over the fire if you really wanted to and wanted to make it look fancy. I'm not really a fancy person. I just get it done. You'll go to the Wily stages. These things are they're more difficult than any of the other Mega Man games I've ever played. These first ones are just infuriating. There's no map or anything. Usually on the other games, it shows you, it does like a little drawing thing to the next area, so that you kind of know how the level's laid out. This doesn't do that. It doesn't. The only thing that you're going to get is me or somebody else on a video. The first stage you go through, there's a bunch of these jumping things at the very beginning. I can't really tell you the best thing to do with them. Just try to get around them as best as you can. The problem with the level is the level's pretty long, and there's only 1 or 2 break points in there, 2 checkpoints, and you're going to get roughed up before you get to the boss. I mean, you unless you're really, really good, you're gonna get roughed up a little bit before you take on the boss. You don't have any E-tanks on this game either, so that's what makes it even more more aggravating. But anyway, you'll go through that first section. Then you'll have to use the ice slasher on these 2 fire things that go up. You have to shoot them low enough that you can jump on up to the level. You'll jump on up. You'll take out more enemies. You'll come down on the other side. You'll not face too much. You'll come across those platforms again. This time there are spikes on the top and the bottom of the chamber. You can use the M thing again, but for the sake of what's coming up, I would just hold on and just use the platforms the best that you can. And try not to whack your head into the ceiling. Do not forget that the ceiling has spikes on it. That has happened to me before. It is not good. So, that being said, you get past those, and you'll get to another room where you have to use the M thing, and you have to jump up, press the button just a little bit so that it makes a little peg that you can jump up on. You have to do that onto the other side, and then you jump over the big thing in the middle, and then you'll have to do it up on the other side so that you can get to the ladder. Once you get to the end of the stage, you're going to fight a boss that's known as, he's got 2 names. They call him Yellow Devil, or they call him like, I call him the Block, because that's basically what he is. He'll come across the screen in a pattern formation. I don't really know how to tell you the pattern formation because there's so many of them that's come over. Best thing to do is stand on the far right hand side of the room, jump as he comes across, or just stand where you're at. Whatever you need to do to block those blocks, and just keep kind of moving forward because he's going to take up a little bit of space. And then whenever he opens his eye to shoot it, you're going to have to just jump, shoot the elect beam at him, and use the pause trick, because if you don't use the pause trick and you don't kill him on the first shot, he's going to come back across the room. And he's going to do that every time that he's not dead. He's going to go across the room. And you do not want him going across the room more than once unless you are confident in your jumping ability to get over him and know the pattern. The second stage I don't think is as bad. There's a little bit of problems, but not too much. You'll face some of the robot masters in the second stage. The boss in this one is a clone of yourself. You'll go into a room with three levels. There's the top one, middle one, and the bottom one. There will be 3 clones of Mega Man. If you have the elect beam on, they'll all have the elect beam. If you have just your regular buster, they'll have the regular buster. If you have fire on, they'll have fire on. Whatever you've got on, they'll have it on. The best thing to do to this guy is, because you got to find out which one's the real one. The best thing to do is to equip yourself with that elect beam and try to shoot whichever one you think is the one. If you're lucky enough to hit him and he's straight up in front of you, and you're lucky enough to hit him, try to use that trick so that with the elect beam, so that you'll get more than one hit and he'll go down. And you can do it with all the weapons. Like I said, it's not just the elect beam. The elect beam is the best one to do it with, but you can do it with all the weapons. Now that brings us to the third Wily stage. The third Wily stage is probably one of the most infuriating ones. You'll face 4 of the bosses in succession with no health regeneration. So you have to beat all of them, then you have to beat the boss. The boss is not really too bad. Actually, you know what? I think I just told you wrong. Let's go back. The third stage, at the end of the stage, it's just a straightforward thing. At the end of the stage, you'll be run down a pipe and you'll have to shoot the penguin things. At the end of it, there will be, I think it's 4 blocks, and there's a thing that's coming out of 3 different areas in the room. When you kill him once, he moves faster, and he just keeps moving faster. The best thing to do right here is to either use a weapon that you're comfortable with or to try to use the arm cannon. Use it on the first couple of hits, the first couple of times he comes out, then start using the guts power to chuck those blocks at him. Because when he's going super fast around the room, the blocks are more likely to hit him because they kind of break whenever they hit stuff. So they're more likely to hit him, more likely to do damage. Plus, it's going to be awfully hard to hit him when he's moving that fast. Now, the next stage is long, and it's not very good. And like I said, you'll end up fighting 4 of the boss masters in a row with no health. Once you kill all of them, you'll go up to the top, and you'll get some health regeneration stuff, but not much of when you fight Wily. And what you want to do with Wily is you want to use your fire and your rolling cutter. And you want to use those tricks that we used. You want to use I believe it's the fire on the first part of it. And if you're really good and you really want to do this really good, you can actually hit him with the fire almost up close, and it will just wear him out on the first form. And on the second form, just with the rolling cutter. But what you want to do is you want to catch him with anything that you can catch him with and use that start trick. Because if you can use that start trick, he'll go down in probably about a minute or 2. It's not long. It's not a long fight. If you've mastered that start trick, he doesn't last very long at all. Like I said, if you guys got any questions or anything, watch the video that I do, or watch a video that somebody else does. Because there's a lot of glitches and different stuff in different parts of the game. Some of them I'm aware of, some of them I'm not aware of. So, but just watch the videos and just kind of see, what you're going up against. Like I said, we'll go with the pros and cons of this game. Pro is, it's a pretty good game. Out of the original 6, it's the one I like the least. Doesn't mean it's a bad game. It's just I don't like some of the mechanics. I don't like how some of the stuff goes on. I just really don't care for it, and I don't like how it is. The game doesn't take that long to beat. It's kind of a shorter one, especially if you've got a good run going. It's a shorter game. Like I said, it's not a bad game by any means. It's just something I just don't play a whole lot of. You might want to give it a try. The cons of it are, again, those couple Wily stages at the end, and those conveyor belts, and those blocks, and those other platforms that you got to jump on. Some of that stuff is just infuriating, and you just don't really want to go through it. But overall, to me, middle of the road game. I don't like it. I don't hate it. It's just not one of my favorites, but it's a good game. It's still a good game. Like I said, we'll probably do Mega Man 2 next time we have a video. Mega Man 2 is really where the series kind of picked up, and that Mega Man 2 is more of a it was more the one that most people played first. I know for me it was one of the ones I played first, and that's kind of really where I got into it. But we'll go over them in the order that the videos are listed in. I think the first 6 are ones that I did on them, and I think I did those 6, and I think I did some of the other ones later. There's all the way up to Mega Man 11. I haven't done a playthrough of Mega Man 11 because it's a newer one, and it's kind of I'm not familiar with it. I may come up with some Game Boy videos of the Game Boy Mega Mans. I can beat the second one. I'm not real familiar with the rest of them, though. Except for number 5. Now, number 5 I've played, and it's pretty good. That being said, we'll try to do that. But there are 11 regular Mega Man games. There are I think 5 for Game Boy maybe. And we'll try to get those in there. But we've got the other, let's see, we've got Mega Man 1 through 6. I haven't played 7, 8, and 9 through. I played number 10 through. The reason I haven't played 7, 8, and 9 yet, 7 is, 7 is not bad until the last boss. The last boss is kind of a pain in the butt. Number 8 would be a 2-part playthrough, because there is a way to make that game so much easier than what it needs to be. Number 9, I don't know if we can play through number 9. I don't know. The Robot Masters are not hard. The stages are what's hard on number 9. The stages are like, they amped up the difficulty on these stages, and they are ridiculous. They are just ridiculous, insane. And it's very, very difficult to beat. I may do it one day, and I may use save states. It'll take all I've got in me though to try to do 9. And we might do 11 at some point too. And then, like I said, we'll try to get the Game Boy ones in there. But we'll go over the ones that we have done now, which are 1 through 6, number 10. We'll go through those first. As we're going through, we'll go through some of the other games that I have already streamed. Like I said, tell you some of the tips and tricks. Or like the Legend of Zelda ones, if there's too many tips and tricks for me to lay out for you, I will tell you what site to go to in case you want to get into those games. Or like I said, you can watch the videos on YouTube. I mean, they're all up there. Every game that I'm going over right now, there's a video up on YouTube of, and check them out. Some of them are more than one part, some of them are only one part. I think all the Mega Man games, I think that I've got listed up there right now, I think they're all one part. The Legend of Zelda has a lot of parts because there's 2 quests on it. Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past is quite a few parts. Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, and 3, they're all quite a few parts. But really, if you're kind of looking at stuff, you don't really have to watch the entire video. You can kind of speed it up, or if you try to go into a game like Zelda or something like it, like The Legend of Zelda, and you're just looking for one specific thing, and I haven't covered it or anything, let me know, and I will try to let you know. Not necessarily on the video where that's at, but where I found either where I found the information, or I'll get the information for you and I'll let you know. Because like I said, the videos are kind of self-explanatory. Everything I do on there, either A, it's stuff that I remembered where things were, or B, it's I looked at the guide and found out where it was. So I know that takes a little bit of the oomph out of it, but at the same time, when you get to that point, you just kind of get kind of ragey, and you don't really want to do this or that. So if anybody's ever experienced that gamer rage like I have, I know Jim has before, but if you kind of get up to that rage level, you just kind of want to look at a guide so that you know where stuff's at. So, but we'll try to get all that fixed. As you can see, the background behind me is a little bit different, moved. So this is kind of going to be the background that we're going to have probably from now on. It's a little different, but I think it works just as well. But like I said, these videos may come one a week, maybe more than one a week. we'll see what we can do, because we've got a lot of videos up there right now. We've got a lot of videos. Check them out. Some are hidden gems. Some are games that like I've done all 3 Super Mario Brothers. Some are hidden gems, like what I would call hidden gems, like Monster Party and Dragon Spirit. Those are 2 of the better games I played through that I really like, that I'm not so sure very many people know about. I like them. So, but just check us out, see what's on there, and Jim will put this on with the Mega Man 1 playthrough we got, and you can check that out while listening to me talk about the game and talk about other things that we would like to do on here. So we're going to try to do that instead. We're going to try to abandon the rant thing, because there's just too much to go through on that, and everything got canceled. So we're not even going to worry about that. It's just too much stuff to get into. This will be a little bit more adequate and a little bit better. Get back to kind of what we more so do on the channel anyway. But let us know what you think. And like I said, if there's any questions about anything on a video game or anything like that, let us know. We'll try to find the information for you, or we'll try to get you the information if we know it right off the bat. And that'll be all for this week. Stay tuned. If you want to know when we have new videos, subscribe to the channel and turn the notification on. That'll let you know when we got new videos, and that way you can keep up with us, and we can carry you along on the retro game journey. We'll do the Nintendo games, a lot of the Nintendo games first, maybe some Super Nintendo mixed in there, but if we don't get to the Super Nintendo, then we'll get to them later. We'd also like to do Sega Genesis. Also maybe some Game Boys and some Game Gears and some Game Boy Advance, things of that nature. Some of the handheld ones that we can do. So just a lot of different stuff that we're gonna be trying to go over. So until next time, we'll see you.